All right, we're going to call the Albany Selectmen meeting of August 10th to order at 5:30 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Every week I'm afraid you forget. Actually, that's what All right, we're going on to new business. Approval of the July 27th Selectmen meeting minutes. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting.
Yeah, I second.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
No.
Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approval of the August 10th consent file, which consists of review and signed manifests in the amount of $2,950.95 and $41,768.78. This includes payroll and accounts payable for 8/3 and 8/10. Review, discuss, and approve or deny a commercial building permit application for MAP 7, Lot 69 for work on a cell tower on Bald Hill Road. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent file.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Kelly, the cell tower permit, is that for replacing antennas?
It was more than just replacing antennas. It is for modifications, including replacing 6 antennas, replacing 6 RRUs, adding 3 RRUs, removing 12 duplexers, adding 1 surge arrestor with the associated cables on the existing wireless site. No change to tower height or compound.
So you're saying we're going to get better service?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. And this was signed off on by both the building permit administrator and the fire chief.
Perfect, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Review, discuss, and approve and sign the contract for New Hampshire tax deed and property auctions to conduct November 2022 auction of town tax deeded properties. I'll make a motion to approve and sign the contract for New Hampshire tax deed and property auctions.
I second.
Discussion?
When did we talk about this happening? Was this in
So
July?
we had to give a 90-day notice, right to redeem.
Okay.
So November 19th, he wants to do it the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And he usually likes somebody from the town to be there, but it can be one selectman, it can be me, it can, as long as he has a key and stuff, he doesn't really care.
Right.
How many properties?
2.
Let's see.
Is that Bridge Street and High Street, I think?
Yes. High Street or crossover?
No, High Street.
High Street.
So you made the motion, I'm sorry, who seconded it?
Aye.
I second.
Okay. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Town administrators report?
So I had submitted a request for time off. I think I mentioned it last time because Jen said she might be unavailable on the 12th of October. I'm going to be going to Georgia again in October, so basically I'm going to take off the Thursday and be gone through the following Monday, so the whole week of Columbus Day week, and then the Thursday before and the Monday after. So
Monday being the holiday?
Monday the 10th is the holiday, so I'm going to take the 17th as well. And I'll take what I always do, take the laptop, sign on the email every day, take a look, make good notes. We should probably talk about, if somebody will take the mail out of the box, I'll leave you the key, just pile it up on my desk. And we should probably talk about the meetings for October because of that. Although, do you want to wait until we talk about having a meeting for and then we kind of do it as a comprehensive thing?
Yeah, because we want to do them together.
Yeah, because I think when you start looking at what we've got happening in September and then me and potentially Jen being unavailable, then we have to kind of work our
Or we
meetings.
can get into October.
I think we're going to get into October anyway, because when I suggested them the first meeting being September 28th, they're like, well, we might, I think we have something, so
Yeah.
they're less available than we are. So we'll do that when we talk about the little meeting we had with DOT.
Something else to discuss in meeting-wise and dates would be for the election on September 13th, and who can be available that day.
Oh yeah, because two of you are supposed to be here at all times, right?
It says selectmen.
September 13th.
September 13th is a Tuesday.
Okay.
Polls are open 8 to 7.
I can
I cannot make the morning.
I can be here. I will be here. What time do you need someone to be here from?
It opens
Till
at
when?
8.
Open today?
The Attorney General's office usually will take a swing through and just make sure that we're within the law and
Okay.
everybody's present.
So do two of you have to be here or just one of you?
It said, the law says selectmen. It doesn't say 1, it doesn't say 2, it doesn't say 3 or 5.
So as long
It
as
just
there's
says
8 selectmen, they can't really ding you for
It says
this.
As
selectmen.
we've always thought, as long as we have one, it's explainable.
Now,
If we
is
can
it
do
okay
two.
if it's one if you're on the ballot though? Or does that not
It
matter?
does not matter.
As long as you're not campaigning.
Yeah.
All right,
I
yeah,
can
we
do whatever anybody else can't do, but I'm
Yeah.
available, whatever. So.
I can do afternoon, I'm just not sure what time,
Yeah.
That's
but I can stay through till the end,
That's coming fast.
very fast.
You want to do the morning, Jen? Up to-
Yeah, I can. I'm flexible, so whatever you. I know last time you really like mornings because it's easier for
It
you.
really doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna leave this one to you, and we'll just split
Yeah, we can
until you
split
can
it.
come in.
Yeah.
Well, if
That
somebody
sounds
Just
does
split it
8
up
to
3 ways.
noon, and then
Yeah.
somebody does noon to 4, and then
Yeah.
somebody can do 4 to 8.
That would be
Guys
kind
all-
of
perfect.
great.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
I'll do the 4 to 8.
You could
that'd
do
be
8 to
perfect.
noon?
Yeah.
Could you
Yeah.
do noon
Yeah.
to 4?
Yeah. Done deal.
Perfect.
Jen, Kelly, Kathy. All right, and I'll let the town clerk know just so she knows who's the little smiling face to be looking for.
Okey-dokey.
And then we'll talk about the rest of that scheduling.
Okay.
Because I got to remind you about the hazardous mitigation ones too. Review and discuss Town of Albany's party fund. So the treasurer reminded me that we have this Town of Albany party fund, which we have not had a party since I think 2 years before COVID, 2017 or 18. And there is money. I think I sent it in your packets. I
Yes.
can't remember off the top of my head now. There was
It's like $1,700.
$1,294.49 in the savings account and $418.03 in the checking account.
There was 2?
Yeah, there's a checking and a savings, and the current treasurer and somebody else, is it Janet something? Somebody else who isn't involved anymore are on the signature cards for that. For some reason, the selectmen had them get signature cards and they're the signers. The treasurer is suggesting that if we're not going to have a party, that we should close the accounts. I don't know if we can because we set it up by vote of town meeting. So would town meeting have to vote to do away with those? Second of all, she suggested if we're not going, she does not want to be a signer on the accounts anymore, so move it over to the selectmen. The problem with that is that the bank where they are is a credit union. Unlike Bank of New Hampshire, they won't allow you to just switch it over. We have to track down that person and they have to sign off to not be a signer before I can put you 3 on as the signers, which is weird because if it's in our federal ID number, you should just be a.
It's June.
Is that a
what it is,
warrant?
June?
Does that money
I
come from a
don't
warrant?
think, the money did come from
Yeah.
a warrant article, but not to establish it.
Just to put money into it.
Mhm.
So
So that can't go back in the general fund?
it would
It
have to go back in
should.
the general fund.
Should.
But I think we need some legal advice on that.
I think so
Okay.
too.
Because we have
dissolve?
always put all the money in it
To dissolve.
Dissolve.
I don't think we have the right,
to dissolve it.
that is town money. They would have to dissolve it, I think.
Okay.
But again, I would ask for some legal advice on that.
I think probably, even if it isn't absolutely 100% necessary, I think it's the safe way to do it because they have always voted to.
Yeah.
This started off as Albany Concerned Citizens, and they were established, but I think they're defunct.
Yeah.
And it transferred over to this fund, and they changed the direction to put on all the parties for Albany. But when this became a fund, I don't think it was Albany Concerned Citizens.
Do you remember when this might have come into existence?
2008.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
But you don't think it was created on a warrant?
I think
No.
The money was.
The money was appropriated through a warrant article, but this fund was never created through, because it was never a town
Right.
group, a committee. It was not. They created themselves and then petitioned
Right.
town meeting for money
That sounds right.
for the parties.
Okay. But the town allowed them to be under our tax ID number? Because I've never seen, and I'm not sure our auditors would be jazzed about, if it's under the town ID, it should be in the care, custody, and control of the town treasurer, and the treasurer and the board of selectmen should be the signers.
Right.
I don't think you're allowed to do this like this.
I don't know how that happened.
Unless
It doesn't really matter. It's there now. We just have to figure out. I guess the reason I'm bringing it to you is, do you want me to find out how to dissolve it, or do you want to keep it going?
Yeah. I mean, you might have to dig for the warrant articles every year that
Oh,
they're all approved.
yeah. I'll just go back to 2008 and come forward, and then give that information to the town attorney and ask him his, and then we'll just do a warrant
There might
article
even
to
be a
dissolve it and put it into
file in
the
there.
general fund. Into the general fund.
Might be some sort of
Anyone
file in
had
there for-
any interest in continuing, but I don't see anybody stepping up to do it.
No, it's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to find volunteers for the stuff we have to do, let alone.
Yeah.
Prior, the Albany Civic Group is the one that was in charge of doing these things, also defunct, but still has money and provides a scholarship annually.
All right, I'll get some advice
Yeah.
and then the third thing I had, which was not on the agenda because I just got it this afternoon, is that Sarah Young Knox has resigned from the Mount Washington Valley Economic Development Council. And she wrote a really nice letter. It's around here somewhere. Please consider this my resignation as the town's representative in the Mount Washington Valley Economic Council. I've enjoyed my time on the council as it does good work supporting local business community. As you know, the council is key in getting COVID relief programs, among them very low interest loans, out to small business owners of the valley in a timely manner, enabling those businesses to survive the challenges of both staying safe and profitable during the early days of the pandemic. The valley's businesses face new challenges now, chief among them a declining aging workforce and a lack of affordable housing for the workers we need to remain a vital community. These challenges are better met by the emerging leaders in the valley, those with fresh ideas and indomitable spirits. It is my hope that the Albany board will reach out to younger residents of town to find such a person to fill the position I am vacating.
It'll be a discussion, but reply to her email and just thank her for her service. Is that okay? From the board?
Or I can write a letter for your signatures.
Email is fine.
Okay.
I agree.
Thank you.
Okay. Do that. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Just in time. Perfect timing, as always. So we want to discuss our additional revenue sharing funds that we are getting from the town for our road projects. There is highway funds and bridge funds coming into play. Plus we still have our ARPA funds.
Yeah, so I
But-
did I did a little, so we have $13,495 left in the first tranche of the ARPA funds.
Did you get the second yet?
We did get the second check. I just deposited it today for $39,310.97. Those two together are $52,800. There was $100,000 in Article 6, so that's $152,000. And then the extra highway block grant money is another $32,902. So altogether, that's $185,700. We can't overexpend, but so let's say 185-ish. And that is not taking anything, because we did take quite a bit out of the expendable trust fund last year. But that gives you 185-ish for this year.
That's special, and that's not even considering the budget itself.
That is, well, it's not the operating budget, because I think we a couple of years ago, we put an extra 15 for paving. But that's more like your cold patching, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
we can take, I think last year we took some out of that, so. Yeah.
Can you refresh my memory? The warrant article approved this year, was it from expendable or was it part of our budget?
So warrant article number 5 is $60,000 into the expendable trust fund. Warrant article number 6 is $100,000 in budget, and I believe
Budget.
50 comes from taxes, 50 comes from.
Expendable.
You know what? I gotta double check
I don't
that.
remember it.
Let me double check that. And in the meantime, I'll make a copy of this for all of you so you know what the running tab is here.
What are your thoughts?
So I think we should do some work to Bald Hill, obviously. I've met with the town of Madison, because the first section of Bald Hill is actually owned by the town of Madison. So we need to do some work there, and they're on board with it. So they're just waiting for us to get, we're gonna do it under our quote, and then they'll reimburse us for it, right? And then we should do the back half of Drake Hill Road, kind of down over the hill. And I mean, that's actually a little more than I thought we had.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we can go out on Passaconaway and address some of the issues on Passaconaway. Because there's some spots out there that have gotten really rough. So I think we can put a really good dent in some of the problems. with that
Last
much
year,
money.
when we were discussing ARPA funds, you mentioned the, I think drainage up on Ridgeview.
Yes.
Are you still planning on that for the ARPA funds?
Well, is the opera fund separate from that 180?
I think that it was included in the 188.
That was included, okay. Now we have to use the opera funds for that drainage?
It has to be infrastructure.
Yeah. Like paving infrastructure? I think it is.
I would agree.
So, I mean, we could do that section from Bald Hill up to Ridgeview. We could do some work to that.
Yeah.
That needs it.
Yeah. All in all, we're in really good shape, aren't we?
We're in really good shape. I mean, paving an inch of pavement or inch and a half of pavement on roads isn't gonna last forever. I mean, even the stuff we did on Drake Hill Road has
Right.
cracked some, but
Right.
it's in 100
really
times
good
better
shape.
shape than it ever was.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in really good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, with that much money, because we can probably put in at least 40,000 from the regular municipal highway budget
Yep.
into these projects.
Yep.
So, I think we can do a lot, really. And I had some preliminary pricing I'm waiting on the number from Pike, but I've gotten the number from a few others, and it's not quite as bad as I thought it would be.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, it's still,
Price come down.
from last year, it's 15% probably more, but that's better than I thought. So, but I'm waiting on a few numbers, and I should have them within the week. But I do have the slots to do it.
You do?
Yeah, so I have a commitment out of one company, and I have a commitment out of another. I just told them I was waiting on the grant and whatnot, see how much money we had, and then we need to commit to one of them. So I could come in.
You ready?
Yeah, I mean, we're ready to do it. I'm trying to get the best price we can get, or the price that makes the most sense,
Right.
because some of those roads are.
So I'm sorry, I missed the part. Bald Hill Road.
So I wanted to do from the southern section of Bald Hill Road up around, up over the hill and towards Tin Mountain, and then do the section of Drake Hill Road from just past World Fellowship down the road.
On the
And-
southern end.
Yeah, down the southern end, and then go out to Passaconaway Road and do a bunch out there. So,
Including the narrows are not anywhere near there.
no, well, they are, but I don't think that's where we should focus on.
Okay.
There's some sections of Passaconaway that are really rough, and
Okay.
the narrows have their own little sub problems, but
So I looked at the warrant article, $100,000 for the purpose of continuing the maintenance and pavement of Albany town roads with $50,000 to come from December 31st fund balance. So that's coming from surplus, not from expendable trust. And then 50 from taxation. And we have our, because we got our audit already, our fund balance is in good shape,
so the end numbers are 185,000.
185, not counting anything out of the operating
Yeah,
budget.
so
So if
yeah,
you,
yeah. So
what
we
is in
can-
it, 60?
Yeah, so we have a lot of
60
we have a lot of room. So yeah.
Yeah,
So then I would like to do some work out here, and to do some stone work and pave here. Like do some. We're not going to be able to pave the whole driveway because the way it was
Right.
done in the previous,
Just
they paved
keeps
right up
washing
to
out there in the
the
corner.
siding of the. So we'd have to kind of take it all out and like cut it and regrade it. But we could do some work to the hill and where it always washes out like that looks terrible. So I would like to just.
That would be
fix
great,
that.
especially, winter time and
Yeah.
then we have town meeting and, it just,
It looks
it'll
terrible.
help.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to put stone all up on top, and
It'll be nice.
if you give me some latitude, I'll just do it.
I'll give
It will look. It will
What
look.
do you think?
It will look good. I mean,
Sounds good. I
I like-
think it's time we start doing a little bit for,
yeah,
especially if we have a little extra
it needs a little bit of a facelift.
here. Yeah.
Need some
Great.
love.
It
Need
does.
some love.
Now that we got a new bench out there.
The bench looks
Yeah,
good.
doesn't
That does
it?
look
It's
good.
really
And the
good.
rocks, thank you for
Yeah, no
doing
problem.
that with such short notice.
Yeah.
It would have looked really,
It got me
The
out.
weeds.
It got me out of my office. It
Yeah.
took some good
Yeah.
labor.
were you the one shoveling the stone?
Yeah.
I should have gotten a picture of that for the town report,
No.
right?
Yeah.
You're a road agent, hard at work.
What road agent?
The old road.
So if everything goes through as you plan for everything, and I know it's way early, but next year, where would you go after?
So, I mean, there's a couple of side roads that we haven't. I think Stacy Lane.
Yeah.
We could address. That is probably time. I'd like to do. I mean, Stacy Lane is one, and then we can do up into Ridgeview. Yeah, that's one. But we're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I like
We
it.
really are. So I mean, we've done some. It's it's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge, right? When you get to the end of it, you start over again. So,
Right.
but I think we're in better shape than we've been in a while
I agree.
since the state paved a lot of roads
I
years and
agree,
years
I
ago.
know.
So I don't think we're going to have such major paving projects for a little while after we finish some of these.
Mhm. Excellent.
So
I like it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Before you go, just information for you. We met with Jason Ayotte today from the state about the work they're gonna do the 16 supposedly within the next 4 years, I think they were saying. They're trying to do it in.
The actual work is supposed to be able to be started in 2025.
Yeah.
Right now, they're in the data collection, which was the survey,
Mm-hmm.
and then they want to start some public hearings, public informational meetings, and then they move to alternative. So there's a lot of things
There's
on the
a
table.
lot of meetings they're gonna have.
There's the width of the road, there's drainage, there's rumble strips, there's, I guess there's been some mention of some of the more traveled town roads, like doing a turn.
Yeah, that's what I
Turn
thought
lane.
you might be interested.
So I think that at some point, as we get into the more informational stuff, it is in our best interest, because you know them as well as
They actually-
Kelly.
They had thoughts that I never thought you'd think of, like the entrance to this building trying to square that off and make it more acceptable. And even putting a passing lane down on Drake Hill, Bald Hill, not a passing lane, a turning lane.
Yeah.
And they're actually talking about closing the other end of Town Hall Road and having a single entrance, which,
I kind of
these are things we need to be aware of. I mean, that came out of nowhere, the things we need to be aware of to say, because they're not, I don't know where the thought process came from the state.
Well, it depends
So
on
it
what
came
the-
from Jack Rose, because Jack Rose was the one that proposed the original project between 2011 and 2013 when he was a selectman. So some of these are holdovers from then.
Yeah.
Like, that was before the rumble strip projects really started. And it's kind of, rumble strip is kind of the flashpoint for everybody, but that's not what,
Well,
that may be a consideration as a safety thing, but that's up to the residents and the board and.
I mean, you remember they did rumble strips in Alton,
yeah, they
and
had-
people had a fit.
Oh yeah, they've paved them over.
Yeah, they paved them over.
And they
because
just paved a bunch over in Barnstead, because I just
Yeah.
drove down there and I was amazed, because you can tell when
You
there's
can
that
hear,
black strip.
if you live along Route 16 or within a mile of it, if you put rumble strips on it, you will hear it.
Yeah,
And,
and I think one of the conversations was, you have to weigh safety with people's quiet enjoyment of their homes. But there might, like I said to them, and
Yeah.
Kelly and I talked to them, there might be places where we've had fatal accidents where you can do a stretch of, the yellow line. You don't
South,
have to
down
do the
south,
sides and
middle.
the center line. Like, some compromises of places that are particularly on intersections that are particularly unsafe and people drift over, or there's been fatal head-on accidents, or so.
Yeah.
I don't see us ever going with rumble strips the whole, what is it,
No.
3.5
Yeah, I don't
miles.
see it either.
I don't see it either. I think there's some, I think when we talked about this in the past, the desire to try to slow down the traffic in this region from basically Watopia to
Like
past
driveway.
here, basically to, permit drives, trying to slow down the speed here was a big thing that I think even Jack Rose years ago was in favor of.
Yeah.
Because it's very narrow, and there's been a lot of fatalities right in this area.
So there's
two
two
young girls that died right at the end of this driveway.
So there's two ways that can happen. One is they require an engineering study. The other way is a project like this, because a project like this is part of the data collection. So if that is something that the residents and the board wants written into this project, then that is something, reducing the speed to 45 or 35 for, it's unlikely that they would do it for the whole Albany, because it's going to still be a study of businesses turning, residents turning.
Supposedly it's considered a safety initiative.
Right, traffic, they'll
But
do a traffic.
that's why they say
safety
rumble
study.
strips, but like I said, if we don't want rumble strips, does that cancel out the project? He said, absolutely not. He said, that's what they're calling it, so safety comes first. So if they call it a rumble strip, that it's looked at more closely.
Well, they've got to change the name of it because you can't get any federal highway funding for rumble strips.
No.
So unfortunately, that was kind of the buzzword back in the day, but they really are changing it to a safety study. And that's what the project will be, a safety study, a safety project.
I would really, this is my opinion, I would look at the southern end of the entrance to, Watopia to the almost the north, southern end of Bald Hill, or even this Permit Drive. That is the area where I think should be forward.
That's exactly what, they had a huge map,
I mean,
as
it
big as
is
this
just
table,
wood.
that rolled out. And
Yeah.
I marked just like you, all this whole stretch.
I mean, they have West Side Road at 35.
And I said how Chicora gets a 35 mile per hour, but when I called years ago, what I was told was we gotta keep the traffic moving to Conway.
Yeah.
And that kind of teed me off a little bit. But that was the attitude back in the day, was we gotta keep it going. I was shocked, because I'm near death every day down there turning.
No, it's, I mean, turning into any of these, right, it's terrible. And people going 55, 60 miles an hour, I mean, that would be the biggest thing.
They said there's other things they can do. They can put wider, brighter, medium lines. They can do something with some optical things that typically slow people down. But he said even if you post it at 35, you know what they're going to do. They go with the road condition. And if it's a good road condition, they're going to travel. So they were good, but it's still fact gathering, but there's a lot of facts they didn't have, and they're looking for them. They asked a lot of questions, but the second half of it was the 113 entrance. And that was a bigger one, because I know the safety issue with that, you know the safety issue with that. Just the money they put in the stop signs every year, what they could have redone the intersection.
The
So,
roundabout.
but he said if we get into that, we're gonna take the money from,
Really slow people down.
they only have so much money. So if we try to do it all, we're not gonna do it all. So we're looking at maybe a second project down the road, I hate to say, but I see that.
But he made it sound like it'd be a couple of years down the road if we could get Madison to sign on with us and get some like reps and stuff interested. 'Cause
Really
that
makes
intersection, there's been a lot of.
They had a big circle, they knew.
Whereas
They knew
if
it
we
was.
take the money from this part and move it to that intersection, this could be on another 20-year plan.
That
Which
intersection is bad.
It is, I see it as probably the worst thing in the.
And like you said, you know, we come down from Wildwood in the snow or whatever, and they're sliding right into Route 16. It's scary.
Yeah, well, that right there, they need to take out that whole hill that goes from the storage units past our office. That needs to
They
be-
said it may incorporate the bridge.
Yeah.
That's how big it could get if they start digging into it.
Yeah.
Bridge.
Well,
The
maybe.
bridge by.
The problem is there's no line of
by
sight, it's so
Hill's Building.
fast. Yeah.
And they said there might be some land take, so they might have to jog it over. Whoever owns that parking lot next door to that, they might have to talk to them about actually moving it over to a flat spot.
Yeah.
But that's when it started getting a lot of money to where we better get what we can get and make that a separate project.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a huge fan of rumble strips, but especially the side ones, the center line one, they paved all the side ones over that I've seen.
Well, because on 28 in Alton, the road wasn't wide enough, so they did the side and the center,
Yeah.
and people can't which ought to scare us, that people cannot drive in a 10-foot or a 12-foot traffic.
Well, that's what I said. I said, if you can't drive, how's this isn't gonna help you if you don't know how to drive in the first place.
And then the speed.
And then the speed.
It does, I mean,
And
the
the-
center lane ones, it's.
Turn lanes.
You can't
Way
fix
up.
all that. And turn, yeah. So that was interesting. That was the first meeting, so.
Yeah, I'd
I will let you know.
anytime you need me to sit in.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll let you know when, because there's gonna be informational meetings, and then there'll be formal public hearings as well, and alternatives will be developed, and I'll make sure that you know when Mr. Hatch called too. He's
A lot of information.
yeah, he's very interested in attending.
Well, he's in the
and-
same boat I'm in.
and he has ideas, so. And he's been in touch, trying to call them, so he got me, and I told him I would tell him.
It's probably a board you can get on.
No, he's not going to do that. He will sit in on a meeting, but he's not going to join.
No, he doesn't even have an email address.
Kelly, we also, we're getting bridge money, and I forget how much you said we were getting. And I think we should look at our, Drake Hill Road Bridge and,
So we are getting
45,441 in bridge money. And we can't put it in the Drake Hill Road capital reserve fund, but we can spend it on anything to do with, the bridge aid program. So if there's maintenance, crack sealing,
On bridges themselves.
on bridges, any bridge in Albany. And we got, 5?
do we, trust fund balances in the town report?
Yeah.
What the Drake Hill Road one is,
They're in here somewhere.
I
So Drake Hill Road had 84.3 at the end of 2021, and they voted to put
another 5,000 in, so probably 90,000 with interest.
I forget what the original quote was on that.
It seemed really high. It was like 800 and something thousand dollars, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we were gonna have to put in 20% or something like
20%,
that.
right.
But the program no longer exists.
But we got in before the
That program-
program closed.
So that's still.
Yeah, we're on the
Last
list, but they're not
applications.
funding it right now.
Right.
Even though they got
Do
30
we have a
million.
timeline when we have to spend this money on the bridge? I don't recall.
I don't think there was anything in there that
Can it
said-
carry over to 2023?
Or 2024?
I mean, I'll go around all the bridges and see where we are. I mean, the covered bridge is in pretty good shape. The roof's really good. I mean,
But some of the small ones, like past Conway Road has a,
Yeah, so there's a couple out there. There's a couple on Drake Hill Road.
yeah, but
Yeah,
just
I'll
that
do
one
it.
red listed. I think the other one was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah, the other one's fine.
I mean, the only two on the red list was Drake Hill and the covered bridge, which will always be on the red list.
'Cause it's wood. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll spend some time seeing where we are.
Yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
like to know how much, how long we can use that to spend.
There's a Ferncroft Bridge too. I'll go up and see that. That needs some guardrail work. That probably has $15,000 of guardrail work on it that needs. Painting on all the rest of the bridges is probably $5,000. So I can give me a couple weeks. I'll get a list together and see where we can address issues on those bridges.
We're going to have a public hearing on accepting that money because it was unanticipated at the next meeting. So you don't have to come if you don't have any numbers, but if you have any
Yeah, I mean,
proposed stuff,
That's on what date?
2 weeks from tonight,
Okay.
24th.
Okay. Yeah, I should. I'll
I mean, I don't want to put you on the
good-
spot. If you're not ready, you're not ready.
No, I'll be ready.
Take it whenever you're ready.
There's
but-
not a lot. I mean, we don't have big bridges, so but Ferncroft has some guardrail damage that we need to address, and I just haven't. We need updated guardrails, not really issues. It just has old technology which could stand fixed. But I'll get an estimate together.
Yeah, I'd love to see you move forward with the paving projects that you have
Yeah.
on your plan and let's use up that money
Yeah.
while we can.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, that's good stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah, good to see you.
Long time no see.
Yeah. Yeah. Last night.
Monday.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Good luck with that school
Have a
board.
good night.
Curtis.
Thanks, Curtis.
Yeah.
So, just to finish up what I started, the road project meeting went good today because I explained the whole thing, but the part we need to decide is when they have their informational meeting, do we want it to be a selectmen's meeting or do you want them to hold the meeting? And the difference would be, and I brought it up, is if they run the meeting, they have to control the meeting. So people speak out of turn or you know how they can get, then they have to control it, which he kind of backed off when I brought up the idea. That's when he said he'd prefer if it was a selectman meeting.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Not a selectmen's meeting,
But with control of
a
it.
run by a town meeting,
Yeah.
a town public informational meeting. That way
Selectmen present.
the chairman runs
Right.
it. The only problem is that generally those are recorded, and if we do it in the other room,
We'll invite
They'll
Rob in
have
the
to-
other room.
Yeah.
move over to the other room.
Yeah.
And then they're looking for us to have a meeting end of September or October, and I explained that, we're coming into that time of year with budgets, year-end, tax rates. We're having hazard mitigation planning meetings, even though they're Zoom, they still take a block of time, so it's gonna be some, you have commitments for budgets.
So, and you guys have to be working on a town, but, it's a lot. So we have to find a date that, because they only do evening meetings.
Right. Did they say how long that might take? An hour, 2 hours?
I don't think they'd be willing to say that because it's going to be your meeting
And it's
now.
gonna be public, so.
And it's public,
So
so
an hour.
however many.
It depends how the chair is. It could be 15 minutes. But they made it sound like they'll do all the PR and they'll put out notices.
For
and
me,
do the whole
sooner
thing.
is,
No, if it's
Better.
our meeting, I have to do all the public noticing and.
yeah.
But you said you need a 30-day notice?
They want 30 days, but we don't have to give 30 days, and if they do a meeting, they give 30 days, that's their policy.
Yeah.
If it's a selectmen's, the biggest problem is you need to pick 2 or 3 days because they are all over the state, so
Yeah.
getting there, because he's the program manager, and then he has a couple of engineers,
Yeah.
and so just all 3 of them being available.
And it has to be in September, is that?
No, he
No.
said to start looking towards the end of September into October.
Because it
But-
sounded like he'd like 30 days anyway to get his information together.
Well,
We give it to
But
him
he
on-
asked for the end of September. So, you could do your off meeting night September 28th. They seem to maybe be available that night. And again, you have to figure out when you're gonna have selectmen's meetings in October. Whether you wanna do this meeting before or after that meeting, that might be a lot. But there's 4 Wednesdays in October, so if you want to do, what do you want to do about the selectmen's meeting? Do you want to have 2 in a row? We have a meeting on August 28th, or August 24th, and then we wouldn't normally have a meeting till the 14th, but of September, but no, it's the 28th. So September, we're having the 14th and the 28th. And then in October, you would normally do the 12th and the 26th, but Jen and I aren't going to be here on the 12th,
Right.
potentially. Me for sure, her potentially. So did you want to have a meeting on September 28th and then have another one on the 5th? And then maybe try to do, that means Jen might not be here for the DOT meeting. It's up to you. I don't know how you wanna. Normally our meetings would be, in October, would be the 12th and the 26th. You can have a meeting with me not here.
Yeah, I think we should just plan that, and I will likely be able to make it, so,
On what date, John?
the 12th, it's when we would normally have a
Normal
select
meeting.
board meeting.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah,
I won't
Kelly
be
won't
here
be
to do an
here.
agenda
Okay.
or minutes
skip-
or.
So probably skip that,
Yeah.
that would be best.
So what she's suggesting is do the 28th and the 5th. Is that correct?
I'm not sure you need a meeting on the 5th, but you probably want to have one before I leave the state.
Yeah.
Maybe flip-flop your meetings for October to the 5th and the 19th, and then maybe do the DOT meeting on the 12th or the 26th.
That's a good idea. Still
Because
spread
I
out.
don't need to be here for the DOT
Right,
meeting for
okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So these are the dates we're giving them.
Yeah, I need to give them a couple,
Yeah, okay.
so I guess what we could say to them, if you guys are okay with it, is
The last,
potentially you could have a meeting on September 28th,
yep,
the 12th, October 12th,
yep,
or October 26th.
okay.
And then we move the BOS meetings to 5th and 19th for the month of September, or for
Okay.
the month of October.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep.
So the DOT would be, I mean, we wouldn't have all these, they're gonna pick one. So 28th, 12th, or 26th. And do like, 6? Is that a good
6
time for
o'clock?
people to get home from work? And
I think so.
do you want me to advertise it from 6 to 7?
Say 6.
6.
I like parties with end dates.
Yeah.
Come to my house,
Me too.
eat and drink, go home.
Goodbye. No.
All right, so is that a plan?
That's a plan.
And then
Well done.
I'll shoot that email off tonight, so by Monday, I should get a confirmation from them, and then I can get it out to you guys, so. And in the meantime, we also have the hazardous mitigation meeting, and these are all gonna be by Zoom, that's the only way they do them now. They don't meet at all anymore. September 7th at 6, or September 20th at 10. And you guys don't have to come to every meeting, but you probably want to be at
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2.
Well, you want to participate anyway, so we meet our grant match.
Yeah, I think we got some interest. Kathy Ryan is from the Conservation Commission, said she'd participate. She participated last time. Dominic Ricciardi said he'd come to a meeting. Jim Ennis said he'd be at a, everybody's pretty much, Steve Solomon's on for, so I think we've got some participation. I just,
How many meetings does she predict it'll take?
did she say 5 or 6? I think 5 or 6. I think it just depends on how fast you get through the material, how many changes you have, and
And she's still doing Zoom.
only Zoom. She doesn't do any live meetings anymore. They found this to be more cost effective, and
I bet.
Yep.
Travel a lot.
it works for me because I can do it from home and not wind up putting in an extra 4 hours just kind of zooming into a meeting. It'll be interesting though to see the materials she provides because it's kind of hard. Like, I'm visual. I'm like,
Me too.
so we'll see. That's where we are right now. And I've already started on the budgeting calling about mini splits.
Perfect.
I'm hot.
Perfect.
The hose broke in my air conditioner this week and I had to duct tape it.
When you talked about the mini splits, because I know of 2, but one at work and another one that they have a molding problem. See if they've corrected that. The actual unit itself, you look up inside the fins, and I had to plastic the one off at work because it was all mold up inside of it. We have to have someone come in and clean it. So I think it was an early on split. Maybe they've corrected that, but we're almost ready to take it out, which is unfortunate. But it's $300 to have it cleaned, but you don't know what's in there. I just happened to look up in there, but it was all caked up with mold. And then I asked around and said, yeah, they had a lot of problems with
It's not
that.
good for the breathing.
Whether they corrected it or not, but it's a good question to ask.
Yeah, I don't want to have to decide on breathing or
Yeah,
Or
cooling
hot.
off. Yeah.
or hot.
Right.
But just something I come up with.
Alright. Anything new under old business? Chapel of Flat program.
Nope.
Other business, planning board, we met on Monday evening and approved a site plan review for 2219. Route 16, which used to be the one-wheel drive, a gentleman came in and he's going to be building a office space for his construction business. Everything's in place and we wished him well. His next step will be for building permit and he'll be reaching out to the fire chief and making sure everything's in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he gonna live there?
He is not going to live there. It will not be residential, it'll be commercial only for office space. In the future, he may want to rent out some of the upstairs office space.
Yep.
But I let him know that any business moving into town would have to go through site plan review.
Yep.
Will he be parking big trucks there too? Will any of his
I don't
equipment
think
be
so.
there?
I think it's just going to be employees. If there's going to be trucks, it's going to be out towards the back.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
room there.
he seems really on the ball and open to anything.
He's from Maine. His company's in Maine right now, isn't it?
Yeah. So we welcome him to Albany.
Is that the log cabin builder?
He is, yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's Post and Bean.
Post and Bean, yeah, okay.
Correspondence, or anybody else, anything?
I got one thing. I come in today for this meeting, and when I opened the door, there was a dog in the hallway. Somebody brought the dog in. I don't know the rules. Dogs allowed in the building because our town administrator is allergic, and for her protection, I didn't know if it was a good idea to limit it to service dogs only. I just want to know how you felt about that.
I mean, isn't that already sort of a rule in public
Always come in.
Yeah.
places?
The only
Service
place-
dogs only? I mean,
It becomes an issue. I had a dog bite in a town hall, and our insurance company told us they
Yeah.
wouldn't cover us if it happened again. You get one shot at it. and-
so it's just per
Dogs are in
place.
Conway Town Hall every day.
Sure.
Every
But-
day.
So
I don't have an opinion either way.
Well,
I just wasn't sure if there was like,
I just walked into a dog in the hall, but
Yeah,
it,
I mean,
it happened to be a friendly dog, but
If Kelly was out, you know, in the common area, yes. But if she's in the office with just that opening, I think she's safe. However, I wouldn't be
I
against
just
just saying
liability-wise.
service dogs only.
I think that's, I wouldn't personally bring my dog in a building if it could sit in the car and wait for me. I just think personally.
I did ask.
Every day.
I did ask Caitlin to stop bringing her dog.
Mm-hmm.
When she first came, she was bringing her dog and having it in the office every day. And obviously, it's a cumulative thing for me.
Yes.
It's fine if the dog, like this dog was in the hallway for a half hour. And then everybody that came into the building petted the dog, and then
Right.
everybody came to my window.
Right.
And so
Right.
I'm highly allergic. Like some people are just like, I can take a Zyrtec and I'll be
Right.
fine, or Benadryl.
Right.
If I don't know about it and that winds up all over my paperwork, then I will wind up in the emergency room. And then that's going to be a workers' comp claim because I don't have dogs in my life anywhere. I just can't.
Yeah.
I love dogs, but I'm really allergic. So, again, I just asked Caitlin because I just didn't want it in here all day, every day. And then, you know, and then it starts running the hall. Like, it's her dog, and I get it.
Yep.
But I would prefer it not be bring your dog to work day.
Solution.
I would ask the town administrator her opinion. I want to make it a safe work environment for you.
I obviously don't like it because I don't want to go home sick.
Right.
But it hasn't been such an issue. I mean, like I said, I just asked Caitlin, please, you know, he stayed the rest of that night because it was hot in the car and everything, and then she didn't bring him again.
Yeah.
I think if it becomes an issue, then we talk about it again.
Okay.
And I don't have any, I'm not a shrinking violet. If the dog's out there and it starts jumping on people or it starts jumping up on my window,
Yeah.
then I'm just going to ask the people to please
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
It's a business. It's not a kennel.
Yeah.
But a well-behaved, like at first when she brought him in, he was on a leash, so he was staying right by her, and then she dropped the leash and he was running up and down the hall, and everybody was petting him. And
Well,
Why don't we just say no dogs allowed and then we just solve the whole thing?
I would make a motion that we only allow service animals. However you want to word that.
Just say no dogs
No, I think you have to allow for service.
No.
I'm not sure.
and say no dogs.
It's like having a
and then
handicap
with
access.
With a service dog.
Trying to be
It's just not gonna
professional.
happen. Second. Third.
Any conversation?
I mean, I agree with you on the service animal thing. Somebody might
It
need
may
a
never
service
happen.
animal.
It may
and
never happen if
right.
someone has a service
You
animal.
shouldn't just say no to dogs because there are service animals.
So it's
So
service
it's-
animals, only
So
service.
the service animal comes in with the voter to come in and vote.
Excuse me.
Kelly has to walk away.
it doesn't matter. I'm never out there anyway because I'm not a registered voter.
It just should be service animals only. I mean, I think that's safer than saying no dogs. But I mean, maybe it's just already implied that service
I
animals
think even
are
when you
allowed
say no
because-
dogs,
you can't keep service dogs out because
Right,
you can't
okay,
deny
yeah.
people service.
Sure.
I think it's a given, but it's however you guys want to do it.
No dogs allowed, service dogs only.
Makes
Yes,
sense?
no,
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
no discussion.
We're gonna need a sign.
I'll put up a
Sign
little,
outside.
Yeah,
I'll
you
put up
could
a
just
little
make
sign
one.
on the window.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Picture for doggy with this.
I'm sorry.
Ghostbusters.
You know, for
Yeah.
the inconvenience of someone
No
leaving the
dogs.
dog in the car
Actually, you know
or
what
her
I-
going home sick.
You know what, actually, I'll just say only service dogs allowed.
That's simple and friendly.
That's
There you
not,
go.
you're not prohibiting anything, you're just saying only service
That's-
dogs allowed.
People don't get it though.
No. Then you can say,
The thing
without
is, if
the-
that person's standing there and it was like a day like, you know, yesterday and it's humid and they're standing there for half an hour while their dog's out in the car. That's
Why can't
not
they just
cool.
leave their dogs at home?
Because
I
people don't.
I
Run
just
the
don't
AC.
understand. It's
Every
100
house
degrees outside. People are like, nope, I'm bringing my Saint Bernard with me to the grocery store. It's like, what moron does that? It's like, leave your dog
Welcome
at
to
home.
My
It's
friends that
AC.
know
You can
I
email
allergic
her
to
at.
bring them in my house.
I'm gonna say it. I don't care. Email me. Leave the dog at home.
Oh boy, you're starting.
Leave it at home.
All right. That's all I.
All right, call to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was enthusiastic.
I'm putting in the minutes this
Probably gonna be. It's gonna be in the town column tomorrow that I eat dogs.
And I'm putting in there, it wasn't my idea.
You can quote me. Quote me, please.
I can't begin to tell you that. You have no idea you can get, you do not have to do anything to get that dog a thing that says easy service dog.
Sure. I know.
Sure.
I know. If you want to go to that much trouble, then all the power to you.
I'd rather they brought the service gerbil.
Yeah. Right. Service goldfish or something.
Service
Service
gerbil.
goldfish. All right, where are we at? We're at correspondence. We finished that vote, correct?
Yes.
Review and discuss quarterly statistics from the Conway Village Fire District. Review and discuss letter from Charter Communications shutting off more channels.
No, they're rebranding.
Oh, is that it?
Rebranding.
Oh, okay. Shutting off channels.
Jen read it.
Review and discuss letter from DOT outlining 2022 highway block grant funding level, which we just discussed with Curtis. Is there any
This
public?
is our regular one.
Public comments?
Oh my goodness.
There she goes.
First, I'd like to know, just so that I can put it in the column. When I suggested that the bin be put outside, I was not considering the weather and that sort of thing. I was considering how Kelly's gonna deal with it. Having people,
I appreciate that.
Bags flying everywhere. You'd be chasing them across 501.
Bread bags.
I thought about that, but I
Worst
also
one.
thought about, when she said that they have a bin, she also said there's a big poster that goes over it, because obviously if it's contaminated, then the whole thing has to be chucked away. So why bother recycling if we don't do it right, properly? And nobody's gonna do it properly if they don't know.
And honestly, I would say let's give this a trial, and if
Yeah,
it
she's
becomes
supposed to usually
bothersome,
have it this week, but she has a wedding she's preparing for too, so I'm not gonna bother till next week and see where she is with it. But I appreciate you considering.
well, it could be, I can't say definitely, but it could be very bothersome to you to have 4 or 5 people coming in at once just to, I don't know what they're going to do. Is it up to them to put it in the bin?
yes.
Okay, so then you have to wait and for them to get finished with what they're doing, hopefully and doing it right, and the right things go in. I'll put that in the paper. I'm trying to be considerate.
But would that be up to her, the right things going in the
Well,
bin?
she's gonna field the questions when people don't know. That's the concern.
Just say no.
So it has
Yeah,
nothing to do with
I mean,
that.
it's plastic bags, I think.
But they might
correct?
have-
It's all kinds of plastic.
Okay.
I've already started my collection. Scaring me to
too.
put it out in the garage now because there's so much of it.
Me too. It's amazing how much
Really is.
just grocery bags and stuff like
almost everything you order comes in an inside plastic, and then like the big
Sandwich
stuff that
bags
wraps around
Yeah.
pallets. That stuff, like you think it's compact, but when you start,
Bubble wrap?
Yeah.
well, yeah, and the little bags, the inflatable bags now they use instead of bubble wrap, or instead of peanuts that you just pop and put in your trash.
And
Those
and
are
my
just a lot
question
of
is, and I have no idea what the answer is how big is this thing?
No idea.
I don't know. I mean, I will have to
We
keep an
room
eye.
out there.
I will have to keep an eye on it, and if they don't come and get it, then that doesn't serve the purpose either. Like they need to come and service it and take it away because they
As
need the
often as
500
needed.
because they need the 500 pounds to make a bench. You know, there's a lot more of it than you think, but it doesn't weigh a lot. So to get 500 pounds, that's a lot of
That's a lot of.
that's a lot of plastic bags.
A lot of garbage.
So I think we have to be ready to tell them where you want it put in here. And is there even room? There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of room out there. to put
Kelly
something.
can guide them.
I just need to see it. I mean, because I also, it obviously needs to go against a wall so the poster can be over it, and some of that is gonna depend on, you know, the voting booths out here, they can be in the big room, because we don't use the big room, and that's where they go, so there's space. And the
Yeah.
grill could be put in the big room, and
There's
so we've got some choices, so I'm not that worried about it. And like I said, they're gonna have to service it, because
We'll try
they
it.
need the plastic. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, trial and
Yeah.
error, just see what happens.
And my next question.
Oh God, I thought she was done.
Pardon. Albany is a little town that doesn't have its own of almost anything. On August 18th, there's going to be a meeting at the fire station regarding whatever they're trying to do with dismantling the fire department, the fire station here in the town of Conway. And the meeting is open to all public, regardless of the fact that we're not taxpayers in Conway. By the way, I hope somebody here is going to go. It's very distressing what's happening. I mean, I know for a fact that there is one family here in Albany that is very dependent upon the fire department in terms of helping this one young woman who is unable. She's very much handicapped and unable to get on by herself. And I worry about people like her. If we had to go, where would we go? To whom would we be placed? Who would come and help us?
we're still gonna have a fire department and EMS. It's just going to fall, just like we have solid waste and it's run by the town of Conway. The fire department will just move from a village precinct under the auspices of the town of Conway.
And if they do dissolve
we
the
will
ambulance.
And we will contract with them.
Well, I think that it's important for us to, I wasn't aware of what you're saying, and I would like to make sure that the townspeople who feel most comfortable with what we presently have in terms of the fire department, I would feel much more comfortable if we were there, the townspeople were there to listen to what this is all about. So I wanted to put this on TV for that purpose.
That's the 18th.
The 18th at 5 o'clock.
At what time?
5 o'clock.
Should know that, but
They haven't shared that with us.
no.
Oh, it's,
I wasn't notified.
No.
well, I'm
You
telling
really
you,
don't start, you know.
Is it at the town, is it at the fire station or
yes,
is it
it's at the fire station. And the fire chief Solomon, who is not a relative, but though I call him my son.
Did you say it's at 8 o'clock?
5.
5 o'clock. He's very anxious that people from Albany, and anybody, come and understand what's happening, what could happen, what is happening, etc. We did, and we use the fire department a great deal in this
We
town.
do.
In 15 years, he's put out 2 fires on the property. And been there before even the call practically. And I'm very happy with that.
Exactly, precisely. And if we were left on our own,
Yeah.
looking for Madison to come and take care of us,
No,
I would have a very difficult time with that.
me too.
It may not be up to us. I mean,
Precisely. But I think if
I
enough
can't see
people-
Conway. If they dissolve Conway, they become part of Conway. There would have to be a negotiation, but I don't see Conway. There's no reason to believe that the town of Conway wouldn't provide the service.
Correct.
Right.
Because they provide solid waste, they provide parks and recreation, they
School.
give us free parking at
It's just
some
a
of their.
cost factor.
Yeah, it's just negotiating what that's going to look like, which
What it's
will
gonna
be a
cost.
transition, potentially. And EMS may go somewhere else, and we may have to contract with somebody else,
But
but
there's plenty out there right now.
yeah, there's choices and,
There is choices right now.
Well, I think that it's important that we, as Albany residents, at least be there and make our statement if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Thanks, Dorothy.
Anything else?
No, I think I got that.
Non-public session is necessary? No necessary?
No,
No
that's
necessary. Next meeting is August 24th at 5:30 here at Town Hall. Did I hear?
motion to adjourn.
Oh, Jen.
Oh, I beat you.
I missed it. Redo, do over.
Good second, how's that?
Second, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 6:36 PM. Thank you all.